Shalom. All praise to Yahweh Bashim Shah. Double honors to the apostles of GMS, and shalom to the brothers out there that's pushing the truth and true sincerity. My name is Amna Allah, and to my left is.
Hello.
All right, and today basically what we're going to be getting into is like a historical type topic, in the book of Acts, the 14th chapter, dealing with the priest of Jupiter and why they called the apostle Paul and Barnabas, why they call Paul and Barnabas, Jupiter and Mercurius. And we're going to go into scriptures, and we're going to go into historical documentation. This is something that the Spirit had me thinking about doing for a while, but I never did it. But the Spirit had me just go into it again, and here we are. So with that, you could get Acts the 14th chapter. You can start from verse 8.
Alright, it's Acts 14 and 8.
Go ahead.
And there sat a certain man at Lystra, impotent in his feet,
Yep.
being crippled from his mother's womb,
Mhm.
who never had walked. The same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him, and preaching and perceiving that he had faith to be healed. So with a loud voice,
Said,
said with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet, and he leaped and walked. And when the people saw what
so that's the apostle Paul that was healing an impotent man, a man who couldn't walk. Go on.
And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices.
To the power of Yahweh Bashim Shah. Go on.
They lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonian,
Yep.
the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men.
So when the people saw what the apostle Paul did, they said the gods have come to us in the likeness of men. But you're going to deal with that. But go ahead. You're going to get to that. But see, the way the scripture is structured, it references it in one particular verse, and then the next verse, it goes deeper into it. So basically, we got to jump around between these. We're going to mainly focus on the verses 11, 12, and 13. But the way that the verses are structured, in certain verses, they're more direct with why they said the gods are come to us in the likeness of men. So we got to basically jump around, so to speak. Because if we explain why they came to them in the likeness of men, we basically jumping the gun. If we just told you what it meant right there, right? So go ahead. We gotta read the whole. We're gonna read 12 and 13, and then we're gonna go into it. Go ahead.
Okay, verse 12.
Yep.
And they called Barnabas Jupiter, and Paul Mercurius.
Go ahead.
Because he was the chief speaker.
Go on.
Then the priest of Jupiter, which was before their city, brought an oxen and guardlands unto the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the people.
Right, now read verse 12 again so we can get started.
And they called Barnabas Jupiter and Paul Mercurius, because he was the chief speaker.
Now we gotta deal with why they called Barnabas Jupiter and why they called Paul Mercurius. That way we can understand why they said the gods came down in the likeness of men.
Right.
So I got this article right here on Wikipedia, right? I'm gonna read a little bit here, We may come back to it later on. But this is Jupiter on Wikipedia. It says Jupiter, also Jove, is the god of sky and thunder and king of the gods in ancient Roman religion and mythology. Jupiter was the chief deity of Roman state religion throughout the Republican and imperial eras, until Christianity became the dominant religion of the empire. In Roman mythology, he negotiates with Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome, to establish principles of Roman religion such as sacrifice. Jupiter is usually thought to have originated as a sky god. His identifying implement is the thunderbolt, and his primary sacred animal is the eagle, which held precedence over other birds in the taking of auspices, that means like signs, omens, and became one of the most common symbols of the Roman army. See Aquila, like Aquila mentioned in the book of Acts, which means eagle. The two emblems were often combined, which explains why America's symbol is the eagle, because it's Rome all over again. The two emblems were often, anybody got anything to say, just chime in. The two emblems were often combined to represent the god in the form of an eagle, holding in its claws a thunderbolt, frequently seen on Greek and Roman coins. As the sky god, he was a divine witness to oaths, the sacred trust on which justice and good government depend. Many of his functions were focused on the Capitoline Hill, where the citadel was located. Any scriptures come to mind, bring it out too. Many of his functions were focused on the Capitoline Hill, where the citadel was located. He was the chief deity of the early Capitoline triad with Mars and Quirinius. In the later Capitoline triad, he was the central guardian of the state with Juno and Minerva. His sacred tree was the oak. The Romans regarded Jupiter as the equivalent of the Greek Zeus. And in Latin literature and Roman art, the myths and give me the book of Ezra, the first chapter. Ezra, the first chapter. You're gonna see a term there called Mithridath. It's in Ezra chapter 1. I'm gonna direct you to the verse in a moment. Ezra chapter 1, verse I'm looking at Ezra 1 and then one moment. As a matter of fact, you might have to look it up in a blue letter. The term there, Mithridath. Matter of fact, go on Google and type it in, so in this case you spell it wrong, I can correct you. Mithridath, Mithra. You got that? Mithradath. Something should pop up. Maybe even A.B. Esther. Yeah, they pop up? If I type in Bible.
Yeah, put it there.
Ezra 1 and 8.
1 and 8? Okay, Ezra 1 and 8. The water.
Okay, this is the book of Ezra, chapter 1, verse 8. Even those...
That was blue letter?
Google.
Huh?
Google.
Alright, go to Ezra 1 and 8 on blue letter and type in Mithridath. Look it up in the Hebrew. You know?
Alright, this is Ezra 1 and 8.
Go ahead.
Even those did Cyrus, the king of Persia, bring forth from the land of Mithridath.
Start from read that from 7.
Okay, go ahead. Also, Cyrus, the king, brought forth vessels of the house
Brought forth the vessels. You gotta read every word that's there.
Good, like it. Ezra 1 and 7. Also, Cyrus, the king, brought forth the vessels of the house of the Lord, which Nebuchadnezzar had brought forth out of Jerusalem, and had put them in the house of his gods.
Go ahead.
Even those...
So Nebuchadnezzar, that damn devil, took all the vessels out of the house of the Most High. And this damn devil who put them in the house of his gods, man.
Right.
Go ahead.
Even those did Cyrus, the king of Persia, bring forth by the hand of Mithridath, the treasurer,
Go ahead.
and numbered them unto Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah.
Alright, now what did that say in blue letter?
And the blue letter, the Hebrew word is
Mithridath?
Mithridath,
Okay.
which means given by Mithra, treasure of King Cyrus of Persia, a Persian officer stationed at Samaria in the time of Artaxerxes.
Now you see how it said given by Mithra. Mithra was a Persian deity. But pursuant to Daniel the 7th chapter, who came after the Persians? The Greeks.
Right.
And the Greeks took Mithra and it's called the Mithras. The point of us bringing that out is to show you that when one society had a particular group of gods, when the next society came in, they took their god and just changed the name. And you know after Greece, who came in? The Romans came in. So the Roman Zeus, the Greek Zeus became who? Jupiter. That's why right here.
So I was going to say the Greeks did the same thing with the Egyptian gods.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
The same exact thing.
That's right. Which they took Mithra from the Persians, and then they called them Mithras. And then when they went down, the Romans took Zeus and just called him Jupiter.
Right.
That's why I said the Romans regarded Jupiter as the equivalent of the Greek Zeus.
Right.
And in Latin literature and Roman art, the myths and iconography of Zeus are adapted under the name Jupiter. In the Greek influence tradition, Jupiter was the brother of Neptune and Pluto. Each presided over one of the 3 realms of the universe, which is all bullshit: sky, the waters, and the underworld. The italic Dispater was also a sky god who manifested himself in the daylight, usually but not always. Give me Psalms 96:5. Usually but not always identified with Jupiter. Tenier is usually regarded as the Etruscan counterpart.
Alright. This is the book of Psalms 96.
So Neptune, so-called Neptune, which is Poseidon, Jupiter and Pluto, which is Hades. Pluto's Hades. They so-called, one had the sky, one had the water, one had the underworld, but they all shared the earth.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Psalms 96 verse 5.
Go ahead.
For all the gods of the nations are idols, But the Lord made the heavens.
Yeah, the God of nations are the idols, but the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Shah, Yahweh through Yahweh Shah,
Right.
or rather Yahweh Shah through Yahweh, created the heavens and the earth along with the angels. So our power made the heavens, man. There's more to that. That's basically the point.
That was the point of it.
Okay.
If I can say this though.
Go ahead, Al.
Remember the time of Elijah, to prove that the gods of the other nations are idols.
Yep.
The gods that they was worshiping, Elijah was basically mocking them.
Yeah.
You know, when it came
Who was
time
that? Baal, I believe.
yeah, the prophets of Baal, yeah, he was mocking them.
Yep.
You know, he was saying maybe your God is asleep.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
on a journey, I believe.
On a journey, you know, and when he called on the Most High, what happened? Fire came and consumed the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know,
But the fire didn't come when they prayed to Baal.
Right.
Because he ain't real.
Proves that
yeah.
those are pure idols, and proves that this scripture right here in Psalms is accurate, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that was
Now, so we read the Torah. Read the Torah for one more time, brother.
okay. And
So you went to a little bit about Zeus. In fact, you haven't got to read it again. We went to a little bit about Zeus, right? Called Barnabas, Jupiter, which is the Roman equivalent of Zeus. And when we say Zeus, keep in mind Jupiter, okay? Now, this is a website called theoi.com. theoi.com. Okay? www.theoi.com. It says Zeus. Zeus was the king of gods, the god of sky. Make sure you get the definitions on that. Zeus was the king of the gods, the god of sky and weather, law, order, and fate. He was depicted as a regal man. Look at that word regal. I gotta ask the brother to look it up because, you know, we out here, there's no internet connection, so I bet you just kept the different pages up. You know, I can't search nothing, but I still got the pages up, so I can always reference back to it. Go ahead, look at that word regal. See what that word regal means.
I'm gonna read both definitions that they got. This is the definition for the word regal.
What website that from?
This is from the Urban Dictionary. It says, number one, of relating to a king, royal.
Which is correct. Go ahead.
And definition number two is befitting or resembling a king. And that was it.
See that? So, regal means like to have the appearance of like of a